Hello and greetings from Iceland. Is the Reykjanes Peninsula waking up again? That is the biggest question today, since experts were just confirming a magma intrusion that seems to be on the way to the surface. And that's not all. What is going on with the enormous Katla volcano? And then we have a new volcano teasing us, so we have plenty to talk about today. And let's start where we left off a few days ago by Katla volcano. This is how the 7 days earthquake plot looks like, and this is how the last 48 hours look like. And notice this caldera there, to the north from Katla. This is the so-called Torfajökull volcanic system, or this huge caldera might be the largest caldera in our country. It is not unusual to get earthquakes there, but the thing is that the earthquake activity is just so widespread right now. Like when we look at the Central Highlands, we have this odd location, or Hofsjökull glacier. And under that glacier, we have a volcano that simply hasn't been studied that much. All we know that there are a few lava fields scattered around the glacier, and the caldera seems to be huge. We know that this system is active, and every now and then we get like 1 or 2 earthquakes, so this is way more than usual. However, this will most likely fade out, but worth mentioning, since my point was simply to show you that the overall situation is unusual. Like we do have this seismic activity by Langjökull glacier as well, and to top this all, we got a magnitude 3 earthquake under Vatnajökull glacier this morning, where we have 7 active volcanoes, and at least 3 or 4 of them are considered to be getting ready for an eruption. And can we add one more to that list? That's a good question. And the new volcano that I introduced on the channel for the first time is called Þórðarhyrna. And as for the hard to pronounce volcano names, this could be worse, although the Icelandic letter Þ isn't the easiest one. It's a fine rehearsal for tourists after 1 or 2 beers, Icelandic of course. But as for the geology of Þórðarhyrna, it turned out to be a bit harder to find such information. It last erupted in 1910 and prior to that in 1903. There is some interaction between Þórðarhyrna and the Grímsvötn volcano that I have been covering every few months or so, since we expect Grímsvötn to erupt soon. So we are into this same old problem of understanding these connections between the subglacial volcanoes under the largest glacier in Europe, Vatnajökull. So all I can say for now is that this came as a surprise, no aftershocks though, so this might just be something that the rumbling Grímsvötn volcano triggered. So let's go to the Reykjanes Peninsula. Our capital, Reykjavik, was shaking a bit after an earthquake yesterday morning, and I have to say, again, like I've been mentioning on my channel every now and then, that I've had the feeling for some time that we are about to see something new, and just 10 minutes before I sat down with this voiceover, the news came that it is indeed a magma intrusion down there, but still deep down. And whether it ends with an eruption is impossible to say, of course. But those quiet months that we have been having, they seem to be over. The earthquake yesterday, the first one that could be felt in Reykjavik this year, was of magnitude 3.4, but the bad news is that it originated in the so-called Krýsuvík volcanic system, or under this lake, Lake Klefarvatn. And I've talked about it many times before, since it is possible that this area will be hit next, and eruption there might not necessarily be very tourist friendly. But so far there has been a lack of information, but if you follow the link that I will add to this video, you will find the information page about the Crustal deformation. But due to copyright issues I can't show it here. But it seems to me that the land has been rising by Fagradalsfjall, now in June. And since the GPS is telling us that something is underway, I'm very sure that we will get the INSAR information very soon. But until then, I advise you to check it out yourself. And feel free to share it in the comment section, what you can read from those GPS points. And in fact, just a few days ago, some earthquakes were noticed by Mount Keilir, where the magma intrusion that fed the eruptions in 2021 and 22 originated, and due to the importance of that place, I took some time off to process some of my photos and clips from Mount Keilir in order to upload them to stock agencies, since I got the feeling that there might be increasing market for them as news footage and more. So if this is indeed a magma intrusion on the way, we will be able to follow it like last year when our experts got it right, because they are getting very good at this, monitoring this. So if this continues, we are talking about some weeks at least before an eruption, but prior to that, lots of earthquakes. However, the magma intrusion might just as well solidify. We have seen that happen 4 times before by the village Grindavik, but we do have increased the seismic activity there. So at this time point, uncertainty is only word. We all know that the ball is rolling now, and the best case scenario is Mount Fagradalsfjall, where the 2 other eruptions took place. The worst case scenario might be the Blue Lagoon and the village Grindavik, and let's say that this magma intrusion moves on. We will see almost daily reports from our experts about the whereabouts of the magma, so this could be quite exciting to see. And thanks to my viewers, I have this little extra tool now, or a thermal drone, that might be able to see magma before it comes up the crust, or perhaps some heat coming up from fractures. So don't think for a second that I won't be there. I will be there with 2 drones covering what will be happening every inch of the way. However, at this very moment, there are so many other things to consider, and bear in mind that my forecast for 2023 included 2 eruptions at least. So we might get big news before anything happens on the Reykjanes Peninsula, due to how many volcanoes are getting ready here in Iceland. The year started slowly, but the build-up signs are all over. And I have the feeling that it was a good idea to spend the first weeks of the summer photo processing, since I suspect that I will have to hit the road soon and do some serious work. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.